comes from an adventure I had 2 years ago. I hiked the Appalachian Trail. Yeah, heard of it. All the way from Georgia to Maine, 2,200 miles. It took me 6 months in the woods the whole time. Obviously, by the end of it, I was a very accomplished woodsman. But by the beginning of it, I was not. I was jumping into it like any other Philadelphian would. And you learn all sorts of things while you're in the woods. You learn how to cook, you learn how to set your tent up. You also learn how to poop. That's what the story is. And I learned how to poop. The nice thing about the Appalachian Trail is every 10 miles or so there's a shelter, and at the shelters there's always an outhouse, a privy. They call them moldering privies because you leave your deposit, you're supposed to take like a handful of leaves and throw it in the bin, and the worms get at it and make soil. So everybody knows moldering privy. And I was fortunate for the first 3 weeks on the trail. Every time I had to go, I was always nearby one of those privies. And then I got into North Carolina and I hit my first town where you resupply, and after eating nuts and berries for 3 weeks, I gorged on hamburgers and beer and milkshakes and everything else. Hiked out that night, got on top of this beautiful bald, watched the sunset go down, woke up in the morning in my stomach. 3 weeks of nuts and berries and dried food, and then you add in nothing but grease. It's not quite like a rumbling, it's more like a full-on ass-quake. How I would describe it, like where your sphincters just like, go! I ran out of the tent, maybe 6.9 on the rectal scale. And this is the first time that I had to learn how to poop in the woods without a privy, and I just ran off into the woods and I said, well, I know what to do. You dig a hole and you squat, right? So I dig my hole with my boot. I drop my pants, my ankles, and I go to squat down, and I realize, wait a minute. My pants are right in the line of fire. So I start skinching my butt back to avoid it, and I end up in a kind of crab position. I don't know if you ever tried to poop in a crab position, but there's 2 things wrong with it. It's not sustainable. Like, you just don't have the arm strength. And it doesn't leave a natural sort of opening. There's some pinching going on. I managed to get it all out, and there was a lot of it. Dropping lower. Thankfully, I dug the hole deep enough. Look at that. I'm like, whoa. And it's a mess. I just know it's going to be a mess. And I take my little toilet paper. When you're on the AT, you take toilet paper from, Wendy's or wherever you go into town, and you just kind of like refold it back up for lightweight and put it in your pack. You have all these little scrolls of toilet paper. And I got my little scrolls, and I start going at it, the cleaning business. And I'm getting really nowhere. It's really messy. And I'm looking at my toilet paper, and I'm like, I got 5 days till the next town. This has to last. And suddenly I remember about 2 days before, there was this real hippie guy, been on the trail for so long. Man, why don't you use toilet paper, man? I use leaves, man. I'm like, all right, I can do that. So I grab a handful of leaves, and I go in. What he didn't explain is that he uses green leaves, fresh leaves. This is March. The leaves that are on the ground have been sitting there since they fell off the trees in October. They're dry, they're crispy, and as I go into my butt, they explode into a million pieces of confetti. They're dropping all over my pants and feet, with poop on them. The majority of them are left in my butt, which has now become a moldering privy. So I take the rest of my toilet paper, clean up a little bit, but it's not going to help, and I have to get out of here. There's no way out. So I do the only thing I can do, just fold it into a little diaper, and I stick it up my crack, and I walk 6 miles for 3 hours until I get to the next privy. And there's that hippie guy sitting right there. I shit you not. Or I shit you, I don't know. And I got up to him like, you son of a bitch. You told me about the leaves. And I went and I used the brownie, and he's laughing his ass off. He's like, man, you need this. And he hands me a wet wipe. the story is, if you're going in the woods and you gotta poop, always bring wet wipes, because there's no way out.